Good afternoon, and welcome into the Standard Sports Show for Thursday, February 21st, 2013. However you're listening, thank you for making the show a part of your day. A little bit of a later show than normal today. Had the Daytona Gatorade Duels earlier. I had to watch those, so kind of pushed back the show a little bit. Yeah, I know I've been missing again for the past couple of days, but had to get my new studio all ready. Turned my son's former clubhouse that he doesn't use anymore into my recording studio. Yay me. On today's show, it'll be kind of a quicker show today. Go over those NASCAR Gatorade duels at Daytona, let you know where everybody finished and how they're going to line up Sunday for the Great American Race. Going to talk about the NBA trade deadline. I'll get to that in a minute. Also throw in a little bit of NFL and NHL news and notes and some scores in the NHL. But we'll start off today with the NBA trade deadline. I don't know if you guys heard or not, but over this past weekend, there was supposedly an asteroid that was supposed to come the closest to Earth that any object has come to in the last 100 years or whatever. There's so much anticipation, so much build up to that, and when it happened, nothing actually happened. That's what today felt like in the NBA. The trade deadline came and went. No major stars moved. Josh Smith is still in Atlanta. Dwight Howard's still in L.A. Kevin Garnett's still in Boston. So is Rondo. Here's the biggest trade that happened today. Orlando Magic sent J.J. Redick to the Bucks in a package deal, along with Gustavo Ayon, Ish Smith, and then Magic got back Tobias Harris, Beno Udrih, and Deron Lamb. That was the biggest trade of the day, ladies and gentlemen. I've never seen... There's always been at least one major player that moves at the trade deadline. This year is the first time in a long time I've seen that no major players have moved. Another quick note, I just got this actually on my phone through text message. Kenyon Martin is signed with the Knicks for the rest of the year, filling in the void at the power forward spot. Good for him. I actually thought he would have been somewhere else, but Knicks, that'd be a good fit, I think. A few other trades happened today. Thunder got a couple of trades done. Well, 1.5 trades, I guess you could say. Thunder sent their point guard Eric Maynor to the Blazers. In return, they got a $2.2 million trade exception, so they didn't really get anything except money to use toward their cap. In an actual player trade, so you know it's not even a player trade still. Well, the Thunder acquired Ronnie Brewer, so they basically got that player for free, and they sent the Knicks their second-round pick for this year. A few of the other trades that happened, the Hawks did make a trade. It wasn't Josh Smith, the one that everyone was hoping for. But by the way, I'll have more on that in a minute. But the Hawks acquired Dante Jones from the Mavericks. They send Anthony Amaro in return. Magic get Hakeem Warwick from the Bobcats in return for Josh McRoberts. This one doesn't seem like it's much, but this one actually might be the bigger deal of all the trades this year. The Celtics getting Jordan Crawford from the Wizards. I almost called them the Bullets there for a second, thinking that was in 1998 or something. Celtics get Jordan Crawford from the Wizards in return for Leandro Barbosa and Jason Collins. Now, Jordan Crawford, he could be a lot of help for Boston right now. He might be the one player that they need. Raptors in action again today. They didn't trade Bargnani, which everybody wanted them to, including myself. They did trade, however, a man that they just traded for, Hamed Haddadi, and a second-round pick to the Suns in return for Sebastian Telfair. Yeah. Like I said, so many trades that should have happened. I mean, everyone was talking about the trade machine on ESPN. They were playing with all these trades and seeing what worked, what didn't. Nothing happened. Heat made a, in my opinion, questionable move. I haven't seen this guy play it, so I'm hoping it's worth it. I mean, you give up a second-round pick plus Dexter Pittman for him, and he can't even play it because he's down in Argentina. he had acquired the rights to Ricky Sanchez from the Grizzlies for Pittman, the second-round pick. Yesterday, there was a big trade. The Rockets get Thomas Robinson, Francisco Garcia, and Tyler Honeycutt from the Kings in return for Patrick Patterson, Cole Aldrich, and Tony Douglas. Rockets and the Kings seem to have a trading thing going on the past few years. The Morris twins are reunited in Phoenix. Markieff already there. They acquired his twin brother Marcus Morris from the Rockets for a 2013 second-round pick. And that's all that has happened. Like I said, no Howard moving, no Gasol moving from the Lakers, no Rondo or
6 professional fights, 6 first-round armbar. This one.
Sorry about that. Don't know where that came from. But no Howard, no Gasol from the Lakers, no Garnett, no Rondo from the Celtics. Nobody really moving. That should have moved. I mean, Atlanta screwed up big time, in my opinion, just as the Lakers did, by not moving 2 men that they're not sure if they're even going to re-sign with you after this year. You could have got something for them. And Josh Smith for the Hawks and Dwight Howard for the Lakers. I mean, yeah, the Lakers GM came out and said, we want to build a statue, we want to retire your number. Howard had it made in Orlando, really. He really did. He ran that town, basically. And he expected to do the same in L.A. Well, that's not the case when he had Kobe Bryant still on the team. Even though Kobe's probably going to be retiring after next year, which he hasn't shown any indication he's wavering from that retiring at 35 thing. If he does, Howard will only have to put up with 1 more year. Maybe they could use that to kind of incentive to resign Dwight Howard in the offseason. Does Dwight even want to be in L.A. still? I mean, there were reports this past in the All-Star game last weekend that Greg Popovich was actually yelling at Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard and Kobe definitely don't get along. They didn't show it on the court at all. Dwight was messing around. Yeah, it's an All-Star game. It's fun, but Kobe wasn't really impressed with it. Dwight was shooting threes. He actually made one. Went for a high five with Kobe. Kobe just shrugged him off. But the fact that the Lakers didn't even try and move him shows me that they are dedicated to him, but I don't know if Dwight Howard is actually that dedicated to LA. I don't see it. I think he'll be gone after this year, and I think the Lakers will end up getting nothing in return after giving up Andrew Bynum in that 14 trade in the offseason. I mean, hell, they could have, I'm sure they could have traded him for Josh Smith, signed Josh Smith to a long-term deal. Josh Smith will want to play in LA, I'm sure. Speaking of Josh Smith, it was literally down to the last minute at 11:59 a.m. this morning, Pacific time. The Hawks backed out of the deal. They had a 3-team deal reportedly going on with Orlando and Milwaukee. Yeah, Atlanta would have been raped in it, by the way. They would have gotten just destroyed in that. Let me see if I can find the trade again, because it was going to be a horrible trade for the Hawks, really. Yeah, I'll have to find that here in a minute again. But they weren't going to move if they got the right deal. I get that. But they could have gotten something from him. Even if it was a package of players that could have done something for them in the future, get something for him now, because I doubt he'll re-sign with Atlanta. He'll be one of the most coveted free agents on the market. But yeah, like I said, a lot of hype around this deadline deal, the NBA deadline. Not a lot of action. Really, I can't even call a winner on this, actually. I mean, if anybody, the Rockets, maybe, won this trading deadline. I mean, I don't. really not a lot happened. I mean, I can't even say Milwaukee won. I mean, yeah, they got J.J. Redick, a bench player who can shoot threes. That's about it. Like I said, I think the one that will end up being the biggest deal out of today will be that Jordan Crawford deal to Boston. And that's the way it shouldn't have been that way. Lakers, they're not going to make the playoffs. I don't care what Kobe said today to SI. They're not. Not with this dysfunction between Kobe and Dwight. Gasol's hurt. Earl Clark has stepped up big time, yes, but I just don't see it. I see them being out of the playoffs by about 3 or 4 games. They'll be the 9th seed, probably. They needed to make a move today to make the playoffs, and it didn't happen. Hell, the Raptors have a better chance of making the playoffs than the Lakers. They say, oh, well, yeah, that's because they're in the East. Well, yeah, they are in the East, but they can still make the playoffs. And the Lakers won't. Doesn't matter where they play, they're still going to be in the playoffs. Speaking of, we'll move on to the a few news and scores from around the NBA. Speaking of not trading for anybody, that might have an effect in Chicago on Derrick Rose coming back this year. Derrick Rose's brother and his agent said that because the Bulls didn't make a trade, why should he come back? I tell you why he should come back, because they're actually in a pretty decent spot. I mean, they're in 5th. They can make a deep run into the playoffs with Rose as opposed to without. I don't understand that line of thinking by Rose's brother. I mean, why would you not want to play, especially if you are going to be 100%? Reggie Rose, though, said Thursday that the franchise hasn't put enough quality players around Derrick Rose to win a championship, and that could be a quote, big factor in whether he returns this season from a knee injury. Reggie did make sure that he told in this interview that he was speaking for himself and not his brother, Derrick. Why would you even say that then? I mean, if you haven't even discussed this with Derrick, or if you don't even know if Derrick feels the same way, why would you even stir this up? I said Chicago's not in a bad spot. They're in the 5 seed right now. They're going to make the playoffs in that East. They're going to make the playoffs. No matter what seeding they're going to be in. But really, how could you have made that team any better? They have a really good team as it is. He's saying that Joakim Noah is a great player, Luol Deng's a great player, but you need more than that. What? Yeah, you need your brother back out there. That's what you need. Just those 3, a couple of supportive players. You can beat Miami. I don't get where he's coming from. I mean, he's acting like Derrick is like LeBron James was in Cleveland, where it's not the case. LeBron literally had nobody around him. Derrick Rose has Luol Deng, Joakim Noah. Both really good players. Are they big 3 caliber players? Probably not. But they can get the job done. But yeah. I'm still just astounded at the lack of moves. I mean, not just on Chicago's part. I mean, Chicago really didn't need to make a move. I'm talking about teams like LA, Atlanta, Boston, Clippers. Clippers were supposed to be moving Eric Bledsoe or some of their other bench players, and they didn't. I'm just surprised with all the hype and all the discussion that were going around that today we'd be seeing major stars moving, and nobody moved. Well, before all this happened, last night there was 11 games in the NBA. Recap those real quick. Warriors beat the Suns at home, 108-98. The Grizzlies beat the Raptors, 88-82, in Rudy Gay's first game against his former team, the Grizzlies. By the way, they shut him down, too. They practiced against him for the past 5 years, so of course they're going to know his game. Pistons beat the Bobcats 105-99. Pacers destroyed New York 125-91. That was just embarrassing. Cavaliers beat the Hornets 105-100. Kyrie Irving is going to lead that team now. That might be enough incentive. It might be enough incentive to get LeBron back in 2 years. It might. I don't know if it will. I mean, he might still be having fun down in Miami, but you got to remember, Dwayne Wade's getting older. Bosh is getting older. They've both been in the league a little bit longer than LeBron has been. He has a chance to go play with this Nets superstar Kyrie Irving and possibly put another team around him. Would Cleveland take him back? I don't know. Just stirring the pot here a little bit. But Kyrie Irving is definitely stepping up. Speaking of the Heat, they handled the Hawks 103-90 easily. Nets beat the Bucks 97-94. And the Rockets beat the Thunder 112-119 under James Harden's 46 points against his former team. Timberwolves beat the Sixers 94-87. Dallas over the Magic 111-96. And the Lakers trounced Boston in their first game since the death of their longtime owner, Dr. Jerry Buss, 113-99. They needed to win that game. There was no way they should have lost that game. Dwight Howard did show glimpses of his old Orlando days. My concern is, can he keep it up? Or is he just auditioning for another team for next year, here in the end? Only got 2 games on the schedule tonight, both of them on TNT. We got to start out here at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific with the Heat and the Bulls. That should be a great game. And we're going to finish off the night with the Spurs and the Clippers. I'm just looking at this, the Spurs. I didn't realize this. Spurs are 22-2 at home. They're 21-10 on the road. The only thing that tells me is the Clippers have a chance. Not a good one, but they have a chance to beat the Spurs tonight. We got to take a quick break here. After the break, we got to talk a little NASCAR. Had a couple of races today to determine the running order of the Great American Race on Sunday, the Daytona 500. We'll come back and let you know what happened in those right here on the Standard Sports Show, right here on Spreaker.com.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Ooh.
Welcome back into the Standard Sports Show. Once again, however you're listening to us, thank you, whether it's live right now or later on tonight or tomorrow morning. Thank you for making this show a part of your day. If you're new to the show, I have a Facebook page for the show, facebook.com/Standard Sports Show. Go ahead and like the page. We'll keep you updated on any changes to the show. Also, maybe start posting a little bit more on there, some news and results and stuff on there, so trying to work that out. You can also leave me messages here on the Spreaker.com webpage under each show. I will respond to every one of you that sends a message out. Not a worry there. Or you can hit me up if you have Twitter. I'm on Twitter at SandersD84. Go ahead and shoot me a message. Let me know what you guys want to hear out there too, because there's some days where there's not a lot going on in sports that I'm looking for something to carry the show on conversational-wise out there. So, yeah, any feedback is good, too. If you are new to the show, I'm currently going to school online for radio. Kind of doing this just to get my foot in the door, get used to getting into a routine every day. Haven't kept up with it as much as I'd like to have been, but a few unforeseen circumstances have forced me to do that, but I am back. I'm just trying to get through the schooling. I'll be doing this while I'm doing the schooling, learning a lot from there, learning a lot from this as well. So any feedback, constructive criticism, I love it. If I don't know what I'm doing wrong, I can't fix it. So yeah, definitely leave me some feedback if you guys could, please. Like I said, there's a couple of races today. We're going to transition to NASCAR. We had the Gatorade Duel at Daytona, the 125-mile races. You know what? I have been there's been a lot of questions about this new car. If you don't follow NASCAR a lot, you might not know what I'm talking about, but I'll try to explain it as best I can. Back in before 2004, like probably between 98 and 2004, there was a car. I mean, all the cars looked like, if you saw it on the track, you could go in and look and get pretty much the same car in the dealership the next day on Monday. They went away from that for a while in 2004 with the new, quote, car tomorrow, and with the improved safety, that ugly, ugly wing on the back of it. The spoiler, the front splitter, everything was completely different on it, and they all looked like the same box. And the only thing that differentiated them was the stickers on the front, whether it be Toyota, Dodge, Chevy, or Ford, depending on the makes. And, sorry. But no, I don't, I just don't understand why they went to that. I mean, yeah, I understand the safety measures. There's a lot of safety measures after Dale Earnhardt died back in 2001, and this was the brainchild of it. Sorry about the little lapse there. There was some noises outside I'd never heard before. I think it was just the wind. Yeah, I'm in a new studio, just so you know, and I haven't been up here yet. So this is my first show. So just, when you move into a new place, you hear noises you never heard. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Just don't want to fall through because I'm in kind of a clubhouse type thing. But back on topic. With the Generation 5 cars or the car tomorrow, like I said, they were all the same body tape, the same build. They all looked exactly the same, except the manufacturer's name on the front. This year, NASCAR's listened to the fans, NASCAR's listened to the manufacturers, and they've gone away from that. They've kind of merged the last two generation cars together and made what's being referred to as the Gen 6 car, where they go back to that, having the noses, having the bodies look just like you would go into a car dealership for Ford, Toyota, or Chevy, and you'd be able to pick up the same car that you just saw on the track, minus, of course, decals, stickers, numbers, roll cage, etc. And there's a lot of questions around this because we've gotten so used to a couple of different styles of racing the last 5-6 years. Under this car tomorrow, we've gotten used to the two-car tandem, the pack racing. We've had the pack racing back in the Generation 4 car before they went to the car tomorrow. I explain all this because today was kind of a validation of a lot of people's fears that I've been noticing, including my own. And that's what this is going to do to the actual race itself, especially on a track like Daytona, where the draft is important, where you have to, you can't be running by yourself pretty much. Today, well, I'll go through all the races, but both races today. But I will mention this: there was one wreck today, one caution, and the way that it happened. If you follow racing for a long time, you'll understand this reference. Denny Hamlin's car got loose the way that I would expect it to get loose at a 1.5 mile track, like in Atlanta, Charlotte, Texas, one of those type of tracks. That's the way it looked to me initially. I of course saw the replay and it slowed it down a little bit more. And of course, you see that I can't remember who it was that got under him, but somebody got under him and it turned Edwards into the wall. But to me, though, these races today, both duels, and also going back to last Saturday, the Bud Shootout, Sprint Unlimited, whatever you want to call it, those were actually some of the most boring races that I've watched at Daytona in a long time. Single file racing, not so much pack racing. Yeah, there was a little bit of pack racing at the end of each race. Not much so. You can't pass the leaders anymore, it seems like. As soon as you pull out from your outside when you hit a wall of air, even if you're leading the other line, if you're on the and the high line seems to be the preferred line, which I've never seen that before at Daytona. It's always been hug the yellow line. But the high lines, if you even try and bring that bottom line up, you hit a wall of air even then. It's going to be interesting just in the fact that it's going to be a lot more strategy, mainly pit strategy for Sunday's race. But overall, if today and Saturday were any indication of how this race is going to go, you might as well just skip the first 180 or so laps. Because it's going to be single file racing. It's going to be not much passing. All the passing is going to be done pretty much on pit road. The last 20 laps are going to be people trying to make headway, but probably failing. That's probably where the big one will happen in the last 10 laps or so. People trying to jostle for position, trying to get as much as they can. That will trigger the big one. Plus, these cars are so touchy. The old cars were kind of touchy if you got them on the wrong side. I mean, if you tap the left bumper in the corners, they would go around. But these ones that Jimmy Johnson, I made the remark on Twitter earlier that Jimmy Johnson, he's one of the best drivers at this track. I've never seen his car move around as much as I saw his car move around today in the first race. It's pretty much going to be whoever's up front is going to be there for a while until pit stops, and if they don't get back out front, they're probably not going to get back out there again. Like I said, there's a couple incidents today. One major one that was a wreck that took out Carl Edwards, Regan Smith, Trevor Bayne, and Denny Hamlin. The winner of that race was Kevin Harvick. He's the favorite going in. He won the shootout on Saturday. Sorry, the Sprint Unlimited. I'm still used to calling it the Bud Shootout. Sprint Unlimited on Saturday. He won today's dual race. He's going to be starting third behind Danica Patrick. Winner of the second race was Kyle Busch after Jeff Gordon had a speeding penalty on pit road. Too fast entering was the penalty. He had to do drive-through, which opened the door for Kyle. I mean, the last six years, I want to say, it's been the last lap pass that has been, it's been the staple. You never want to be leading coming into the white flag at Daytona or Talladega. You never want to be. Because 9 times out of 10, you're either going to be passed or you're going to be put into the wall trying to block. Just ask Carl Edwards, just ask Kyle Busch. Both very notable wrecks on the front stretch coming to the checkers. They coined the term checkers or wreckers. They use that term a lot at Daytona and Talladega. This year, I don't think it's going to be that way. If you have the lead, you're going to keep the lead the whole lap around. I'm still definitely looking forward to Daytona 500, as I know a lot of NASCAR fans are, but I think the truck race and the nationwide race will be the two more exciting races. Hell, the K&N Series races on Tuesday night will probably be more exciting than the Daytona 500. And those were pretty exciting races. I was loving those. I wish they'd show more of those on Speed, actually. Here's who I have to watch for, though, on Sunday. Watch for Austin Dillon. He showed me something today. Him and Casey Kane were working pretty well together. He was the pusher, if there is such a thing anymore. I mean, they made a little bit of a move. It wasn't enough. It wasn't like years past where you come off turn 4 and you can pass somebody. No, it wasn't like that at all. But Casey made a move with Dillon pushing him. So watch out for him. Watch. As much as I want to say watch out for Ryan Newman, my driver, don't. Because, yeah, he won the Daytona 500 back in 2008. That was sheer luck. If Kurt Busch wasn't there to push him, he wouldn't have won that. I mean, Ryan has the worst luck at these super speedways, both Daytona and Talladega. I mean, he did horrible wrecks the same year. I think it was 2003, his sophomore year. I mean, he had horrible wrecks at all 4 races, I think it was, that year. Before we get to the Daytona 500, though, on Sunday, we do have a couple races before that. We have the truck race tomorrow night, Craftsman Truck Race on Speed, 7 Eastern, I believe the coverage starts. I'm going to go out on a very, very long limb here, and only a few people will know the name that I have here picked out to win this race. He raced last Saturday in the ARCA Series race. He has a lot of hype around this guy, and I believe in the hype. I'm going to pick him to win it. He's driving the 54 truck this tomorrow night. His nickname is Bubba Wallace. It's Darrell Wallace Jr. That's who I'm picking for the Craftsman Truck Series race tomorrow night. I see good runs coming in by, of course, Ryan Truex is supposed to be running also tomorrow night. Jason White's back in the Truck Series. That's good to see. Todd Bodine, of course, will always be there. Could see Jeb Burton, Ward Burton's son, making some noise. I can see him probably finishing top 10, top 15. But my pick for tomorrow night will be Bubba Wallace, Darrell Wallace Jr. Might as well make the rest of my picks for the weekend. Nationwide pick. The man who should have won the Nationwide Championship last year, I think, Elliott Sadler. If it wasn't for Indy, I think he would have won. If it wasn't for that BS call at Indy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Elliott Sadler was penalized for supposedly jumping the start when the leader spun his tires. Same thing happened, literally the same exact thing happened later on in the race, no penalty. I think it was Kyle Busch at the time. It was either Kyle Busch or Stenhouse. No, sorry, not Stenhouse, Keselowski. Keselowski went on to win the race. Sadler defiantly went to pit road to serve his penalty. He was not happy about it. And I don't blame him because I think it was a BS call. But I have Elliott Sadler winning this race. He's under Joe Gibbs now. He has Joe Gibbs' power. I'm not saying Richard Childress was a bad team. I think Joe Gibbs has a better program when it comes to the super speedway racing, especially in Busch Series. And even my cup pick on Sunday, this might even come to a surprise to a few of you, but I can't ignore the facts. I mean, I would love to pick Harvick. I think he'll get shuffled back. He won't be able to do what he did a couple years ago to Mark Martin. That's already been proven. I mean, he was in the lead in both races that he won. He won't be in the lead coming to the checkers this time. As long as her pit crew gets her out, as long as she stays out of trouble up front and she doesn't do what she did today, I have Danica Patrick not only becoming the first woman to win a pole, I have her becoming the first woman to win a cup race and the first woman to win the Daytona 500 all in one weekend. I hope you enjoyed the Gatorade Duels during the day today. Next year they move to prime time. They're under the lights. More people can watch it. They'll be home from work. They won't have to call in sick anymore. I'm kind of indifferent to this. A lot of people are kind of mad about it, but I'm more indifferent to it. I actually enjoy watching Daytona under the lights. It's a lot more fun. Seems like the cars act better. They don't. They're not as slick, so it makes for better racing. Unless you have a jet dryer and was Juan Pablo Montoya, that is. But those are my picks for this weekend at Daytona. I said tomorrow the Truck Series race coverage just started at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 Eastern. Green flag is expected to be a little after 4:30 Pacific. That's 7:30 Eastern. Watch out for that 54 truck tomorrow. Darrell Wallace Jr. Gonna take another quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up. I have a few NFL news and notes, and we'll go over a little bit of hockey. And we'll be right back. This is Standard Sports Show right here on Spreaker.com. Welcome back into the Sanders Sports Show right here on Spreaker.com. We're getting the day a little bit early today. I just have a few NFL news and notes to talk about. A lot of people, especially 49ers fans, are wondering what's going to happen with their former starting quarterback, Alex Smith. Sources are saying that they are highly unlikely to release Alex Smith, so that takes one quarterback that a lot of teams are probably looking forward to meeting with and possibly signing. I kind of can't blame them. I mean, Seattle's in the same boat right now with Matt Flynn. And yeah, he's ready to he could probably start for 10, 12 teams in the NFL right now, but you have a running quarterback. You have a guy who's very susceptible to injury. I mean, look at what happened to RG3 this year. Seattle has Russell Wilson, San Francisco has Kaepernick. You got to have a very, very dependable, very, very solid backup in these cases because of the fact you never know. There's Kaepernick could get hit, be out for 8 weeks. You have to put Smith back in. If you don't have Smith, who do you have? Exactly. You need to have a solid quarterback. It's almost like the two running back systems in the 2000s. It's almost becoming that kind of a system for quarterbacks now. You have to have at least a running quarterback to run your pistol if you're running that offense like Seattle, San Francisco does. And you have to have a solid pocket passer, someone who's not going to be doing that kind of stuff to back him up just in case. Just like, Kirk Cousins. You don't think of him as a great quarterback because he's a rookie as well as RG3 was, but he carried that team the couple weeks that RG3 was out, a week and a half. You can't release him at this point. Alex Smith, Matt Flynn, probably even Kirk Cousins at this point could probably start for at least 8 teams off the top of my head I can think of. Arizona, Jacksonville, Kansas City, Tampa Bay probably, Oakland. Hell, I even throw Chicago in there. Cutler's not the best. Cutler's no Rex Grossman, don't get me wrong. That was purely a defensive team that got them to that Super Bowl. But Cutler's not elite. He's not even close to being elite. So, there's a lot of teams that these quarterbacks could start for. It's very smart, in my opinion, of the 49ers to not release him or even trade him. If they're keeping him on to try and trade him to get something for him, that I could see that happening too. But if they don't, I don't think they will want to get rid of an Alex Smith at this point. Transition into one player that we know isn't going anywhere to one player that everyone is expecting to go somewhere in Darrelle Revis. There's been no real news on it, but I don't get why the Jets wouldn't want to lock this guy up. I know you don't want to give him a ton of money, but you also don't want to let him go because he could be right across the way in New England as early as next year after his contract is up. But trying to say that they have not discussed a trade for Revis yet. I wouldn't mind seeing him in Arizona. Quite honestly. Trade him, I don't know, maybe a couple receivers, draft pick. One of our 4 or 5 horrible quarterbacks that can't even make up one quarterback. Maybe we can give him Kolb. The Jets need a quarterback, don't they? They have Sanchez. They need a quarterback. But yeah, it looks like they're trying to make up to Revis. They do want to sign him to a long-term deal. You would have to be the most idiotic owner GM in the world to not want to lock up a talent like Darrelle Revis. But then again, this is Woody Johnson we're talking about. The man who traded for Tim Tebow and used him for nothing. Possibly ruined the kid's career. So you know what? He could be that idiotic. Speaking of the Jets, they also made a couple of cost-cutting measures. They cut about $30 million off their cap by releasing about 5 players. The most notable of those players, Calvin Pace and Bart Scott. You can't tell me their defense is going to hurt from that. Yeah, they could very well. They very well could sign them to lesser deals, but they released them for now. I see them going somewhere else, though. But it's going to be interesting.